Welcome back to another video from English Einsteins, where you get the best insight into your exams anywhere on the internet. In this video, I'll be walking you through your GCSE language exam, looking at the persuasive writing aspect, which is 40 marks. This is the one colleges will be looking at more than any other, so make sure you watch this video all the way to the end, like and subscribe, and let's get to the video. In your exam, for question 5, you will be given a statement. And your task in this question is to write a leaflet to local schools in which you persuade students to agree with your opinion on this statement. Okay, and the statement you've been given is social media is damaging for young people. So you have to work out whether you agree or disagree, and then you have to target your leaflet to local schools and students. For this question, I always teach the same structure, which uses this acronym EPIC. You can see down the side the letters spell EPIC with 3 I's. Having this structure will ensure we check all the boxes in the exam. As we're writing a leaflet, of course you're going to need a title and subheadings. Ideally, these will be catchy and they will have alliteration. Once you've got your title, the first thing you need to do is establish the audience. For the purpose of this video, we're going to agree with the statement, and the point of view you take needs to be a strong one either way. First thing you need to do, you need to think, where will your audience be when they're reading your leaflet? For this video, I have decided to picture the audience as being on a bus. School kids tend to get buses. So where will they be? They'll be on a noisy, crowded, chaotic bus potentially reading this leaflet. What will be distracting them? Think, for students, what could potentially be distracting them? Maybe their friends, maybe music, maybe social media. And also, what thoughts might they be having about social media right at this point? They could be thinking, how can I get more followers on Instagram? Why am I not like this person? Why don't I just check out my friend's TikTok account? Something along those lines. Here is a model example for the established audience paragraph. As you sit on the uncomfortable, noisy, overcrowded bus, smoothing out this crumpled leaflet, there's probably one question running through your mind. How do I get more followers on Instagram? And then you respond to that question that's in their head with something like this. To that, I say, forget about the online world and return to the now. It is a disgrace. It is an outrage. It is a scandal that you are so attached to a dystopian world that doesn't exist. This is, of course, the corrupting world of social media. So let's plan this part out. In its most basic form, I could write, there's probably one question going through your mind. But you can improve by adding a different verb for going and put an adjective in front of mind. Students after school, they'll probably be tired. So you could put in front of going through your tired mind, or you can improve upon that even further. The colon here is very important. Going through your tired mind, colon, it's very important because it introduces information. On that note, let's practice semicolons as well. They separate main clauses. This is an ideal time to get them into your writing. In my example, I wrote, it is a disgrace, it is an outrage, it is a scandal that you're so attached to a dystopian world that doesn't exist. But if you were arguing that social media is a good thing, you may say, it is a privilege, it is a blessing, it is a gift. So you're using 3 main clauses, you're separating them with semicolons, and it's repetition at the same time. Okay, so I want you to pause the video here and write up your established audience paragraph using the sentence starters on the side there in the box, the established audience box. So it says, as you stand, sit, gaze. Obviously, you only need to choose one of those. There's probably one question running, plodding, skipping through your mind. You can make up your own verb and you can add the adjective in front of mind as well, remember. And then in the quotation marks, you put what would be going through their mind. For example, how can I get more followers on Instagram? To that I say, it's a scandal, it's a disgrace, etc. And you can use those other words underneath to improve upon those main clauses as well. It is undoubtedly a scandal. It's unquestionably a disgrace. Okay, so pause the video there. Take 5 minutes to write up your established audience paragraph. Just a quick reminder of what we're writing about today. Social media is damaging for young people. Write a leaflet to local schools in which you persuade students to agree with your opinion. So for the picture this section, you need to dramatize and exaggerate the worst outcome possible. As I say ideas, be sure to get them written down on a mind map. So pause the video and draw this mind map up. So think of the negative results of using social media. What do students do to one another online? They bully sometimes, and this sometimes leads to depression and anxiety. Okay, so that could be one of your points you write down. Depression, bullying, anxiety. What kind of ideas are spread through social media sometimes? Think of negative role models like Andrew Tate. What kind of ideas is he spreading? So you could also write down misogynistic ideas are perpetuated or spread. What do children sometimes lack as a result of social media? Sometimes students come in and they say, oh, I went to bed, I got 1 hour sleep last night because I was scrolling through my social media. So you could put students lack sleep. When they lack sleep, they also lack something else. They come into school and they lack their education. So if social media is taking things from children, we can compare it to a thief or a villain stealing children's innocence. So these are all things you should have around your mind map by now, ready for the writing task. So here's my example for the picture this paragraph. Picture this. Again, the colon is really important here. A dystopian world full of perpetual misery. Society crumbles before the faces of ignorant individuals, with their blankly staring eyes glued to their villainous screens. Desolation is victorious as we all become separated from reality, living in a duplicitous online world. We communicate in grunts as we are drowned by social isolation, misery, and hopelessness. Thanks to our screens, headaches are constant and echo across the land, an inescapable poison. So notice the key words, they will have a semantic field of dystopia there. So crumbles, desolation, duplicitous, apocalyptic is one you can use. We've used villainous and also the metaphor of poison there. Headaches are an inescapable poison because of the screens. So there's lots of ideas to depict your dystopia. So we start with this. Picture this, colon, a something world. You can use dystopian world, a hellish world, full of not only something but also something else. To fill in those gaps, you can use ideas from your mind map. So recap your mind map if you need to. So full of not only bullying but also misogyny. But I want you to improve upon that by using your mind map. So we're going to write our second paragraph now. As you can see, you got the picture this colon sentence starter, and then you've got lots of key words to pad out your dystopian paragraph, your picture this paragraph. So pause the video there and write up your picture this paragraph using your mind map and the sentence starters. For the imagine paragraph, you can use the same examples we had for the mind map, but completely opposite. So ideas of liberation instead of imprisonment, ideas of philanthropy instead of misanthropy. We can talk about children having better friendships with one another, being more socially responsible to each other, having great mental health, messages of equality being spread and charity being spread, and children being given the gift of sleep and the blessing of education back. Use these sentence starters here. Pause the video to write up your imagined paragraph. For the information paragraph, I always recommend statistics and one made-up interview quote. Always make up a respectful source that supports your point. For example, Dr. Steinbeck from University of Colorado is better than my mate Jerry says this. So you could say Dr. Steinbeck from the University of Colorado found decreasing social media by 50% decreased the chance of anxiety by 78%. Use the sentence starters there, especially the ones in bold, to help you write your information paragraph. So this is the third and final I paragraph. An anecdote is a short story about a real person. It can be about yourself, it can be made up, or about someone you know. For example, I can't help but remember a time when my friend became severely depressed because she kept comparing herself to others on Instagram, unrealistic filtered photographs of others. That is an example anecdote you could use. Lastly, then, what might your audience still be thinking about social media? They might still be thinking that it's acceptable for kids to use. However, you need to respond to that. You could say, however, is a villain that will keep on stealing from children. Then we end with a one-sentence paragraph. 2 is 2, where you have to fill in the gaps. For example, to let students blindly be exploited by social media companies is to allow their innocence to be corrupted. Notice how we filled in the gaps between 2 and is 2 as a one-sentence paragraph at the end. So just remember, epic with 3 I's. You need to remember what each letter stands for too. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Link below for tutoring. See you in the next video.